Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive sit.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Oh, it's the pain I can assure you will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Double Feature Horror Show episode 200. 200! Goodness. Some people are actually keeping count and know it's not actually 200, but don't worry about that, folks. It is a special number, and for a treat, we're doing an actual double feature for you tonight. A rare actual double feature on Double Feature Horror Show. Yes, we are covering the last two member requests that we had from Member Madness May, which I love. We're making that regular. I'm finding a way to do that every year. Maybe twice a year. Maybe every 6 months. Maybe we could go for that. I don't know. We'll work it out. But we had some very interesting requests. They're not both on here, but I'll just say the first one is going to be The Bleeding House from 2011. All this announced last week. Bleeding House from 2011, which I know a lot of us had trouble finding, but is on Tubi TV in the US. So that's easy to find now that we know that. And Calvaire from 2004. Calvaire or The Ordeal, Belgian horror from Fabrice de Welz. And, well, don't they make the contrast? You know, what are the odds, Murgoot? We get the story of the strange man going to the weird house, and we get the story of the weird man coming to the normal house. And both of them center around Gloria. What are the odds? Okay, I'll be very honest with you. I wanted to pair these kind of like slight inverse ones, like where it's the threat coming to the house or the threat being the house. I did not know they would both prominently focus around someone called Gloria, who isn't really Gloria, but you know.
Well, it's also a contrast of American Southern Gothic versus French Provençal. In
Belgian.
Well, okay.
They get very angry, trust me, from
Okay.
Belgian friends. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah,
Fake
don't
country
worry.
versus real country.
I didn't say that, Belgian friends. I didn't say it. Sorry to all my Flams bros out there. Well, I want to say hi to all the chat. I see you, lots of regulars in. Thank you for dropping by episode 200. And thank you, John Graham, who requested Calvaire. And Paul, thank you for requesting The Bleeding House. I've got to be honest, I did wonder why you went for that one. You threw me off with that one. Don't worry if you can't make the whole stream, Paul. You know, you can be one of those fabulous people who watch on the replay. And I think we'll have a good discussion. We're going to 50-50 it. We're going to start with The Bleeding House. But before we go any further, we are on YouTube, so we've got to do the obligatory shilling. Yes, Paul, I nearly did have to go for the DVD, but I found two other methods of acquiring it. And so was able to watch it. But yeah, it was looking like I was going to have to get the DVD of it.
Both are on Tubi TV in the
Mm.
US if you have VPN.
Yeah, Tubi is a bit of a gem. I didn't tend to look it up, but it's a bit of a gem.
Oh yeah, especially when they have the Full Moon and Trauma catalog right there waiting for you. Plus, they have a great selection of horror movies and some horror originals. Which basically straight to DVD style originals, but there's some interesting stuff out there.
Yeah, I was impressed with that selection. Mima is telling me that The Bleeding House is on YouTube for free.
I didn't find it here in the US. I searched for it. All I found was one review, and the second one listed was the preview for this episode.
Well, you know, hey, we're breaking new ground, I guess. I will say thank you very much to Lawrence for kicking us off with £5, getting the grift on, as Dangerfield would say. I'm calling for a total and complete shutdown of member requests until we can figure out what the hell is going on. Yes, indeed, Lawrence. You know, it's a time, I think it's becoming a tradition, you know. Some of those member requests, people are getting a bit fruity with them, sending in some maybe not entirely serious suggestions. No aspersions intended to any Antipodean members that may be around. But thank you again for £5. You doing a wonderful job demonstrating that super chats are on. I will quickly say that last week I got a mega grift so that I could get this absolutely wonderful book. Can I show you this tab? Look at this tab. This is what I was grifting for last week from Old Sovereign Publishing, who do beautiful, beautiful leather-bound books. And they've got a collection of M.R. James classics. It just, oof. Look at these. Look how beautiful these are. Anyway, I can't justify spending that much money on one of them, but I figured I would get the old grift on, and you people, being fine appreciators of culture, would maybe pitch in. I set a bit of a goal. I said, I made it so if we got $50, I would do a bonus stream for you. Delighted to say that there's a very generous super thanks in addition to the generous live chats, and we made it. So folks, you are going to get your live stream on Men by Alex Garland. I'm going to make my much promised defense of Men and how it is the most based horror film in years. And I think I will attempt that next Saturday. So 6th of September, I will do that. So I'll schedule that. Thank you, folks. You have been generous and I will reward you. So if you want to be like those fabulous people, of course, you can send in super chats. You can join as a member. If you join as a member, you get exclusive content and you get to vote on the next arc that we cover. The vote is ongoing at the moment. And to my great surprise and relief, weirdly, Schlock is not winning. Schlock was one of the options, but currently it's tied with early 2000s horror remakes and the horror film, whereas the horror films of Roman Polanski is comfortably in the lead. So, yeah, we might stay classy. Who knows? Who knows?
Roman Polanski, classy?
Well, he's European, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's automatically classy. You know? If you're ordering your pomme julienne, you know, that's much classier than fries. All right. Well, there's the old shilling, and Murgoot, for yourself, of course, your link to your Twitter is in the description.
Yes, at Murgoot, and I'm back to being shadow banned to hell and back, so you have to type out the entire thing to find me.
Such is the way on Twitter. It gets dispiriting. You just need to. Have you considered moving to Malaysia and just like stealing content? I've heard that is really successful.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna buy a blue check.
Fair play. Fair play. Well, we've got 2 films to cover. Shall we kick in?
Certainly.
Lovely. And this is the one. Oh, there we go. I thought the image hadn't loaded here. So we'll start off with The Bleeding House. If any of you want to be absolute gents and leave a comment with a timestamp, that would be much appreciated. So we'll start The Bleeding House coverage now. Also, I heard that the algo has changed, so they are really, really pushing the interaction with the videos. So your interaction, liking, commenting, supers, commenting in the live chat, all particularly appreciated now more than ever. So it's nice when this channel grows. All right. Mo, The Bleeding House, a debut, an independent.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. I walked in blind, had a lot of fun with it. It's an average film, but for a first full production, it's actually pretty good. Bleeding House opens with the Smith family in their very rural farmhouse, and you can tell they have a lot of problems. The father's a lawyer who's trying to get back in with a law firm. The wife has, just from the get-go, she has a skeleton in the closet. You're introduced to Gloria, aka Blackbird, when they're renovating the house and she refuses to paint her room and pull her bug collection off the wall. And the son has a secret girlfriend that he sneaks into the house periodically. They've just had an argument, and a Southern gentleman appears on their doorstep. His car is broken down, and he's seeking lodging for the night so they can get a mechanic out in the morning. And they have philosophical discussions and talking about his life as a surgeon, his family being murdered. And then he goes one by one and confronts each individual family member, well, specifically Matt, Marilyn, and Gloria, aka Blackbird, because the son is off doing his own thing. Ends up trapping them and explaining his philosophy of setting people free from their problems so they can move on. And the murders start from there, and then Nick, our Southern gentleman, discovers that, oh wow, the Smiths have far darker skeletons in their closet than he thinks, than he originally thought.
Yes, indeed. That there's a moment, I'd say in the first 15-20 minutes, which were by far my favorite part of the film, where I think you are thrown into some genuine doubt over whether we're going to do your classic story where a weird stranger turns up and is going to be a terror to you, or actually is the terror already inside the house. And I think we get a bit of both, actually, don't we?
Yes.
I found that was really quite nice when it danced on the edge of that for a while. It was kind of genre savvy. I did enjoy that.
Very genre savvy, and they didn't go the expected route. there were some tropey parts, but you realize later on that they're turned on their head. What is the actress's name? Alexandra Shando.
Yes.
As Blackbird stands out from the rest of them. The character of Nick is interesting, but his southern drawl gives me the heebie-jeebies because it's so horrible.
Well, good. I wanted to ask you about that because obviously I have got a deaf ear for the intricacies of American accents. I think I am only just being able to distinguish, and I apologize for this, Northern Americans from Canadians. So sorry about that. It's very difficult to tell them apart, You just have to see if you confuse it, if they attack you with a hockey stick or a baseball bat, and then you can tell. Terrible joke. Terrible joke. But I was wondering, is Nick's accent solid? Is it a little out there? Is it a dodgy accent, or is that kind of believable? Because for a Brit,
it started out believable. By the time through the film, it's forced and it's garbage.
Okay.
There's several Southern accents, and that was none of them by the end of the movie.
So we're sort of Keanu Reeves in the Devil's Advocate territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, did you recognize Patrick Breen? Because I was hit the whole time with I know this guy.
He's a character actor. I'm not sure what he's been in. I didn't really research him, but I've seen him in several things before and didn't know his name.
Well, I can help you out. This is the most blurry copy of a still of him from Angel. I can't find I couldn't find a good version of this, but this is from Angel Season 3 Birthday. He appears in that briefly. But you're probably going to recognize him best from...
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure the woman on the left there is also in Angel. I think she played Lila. I could be wrong. Chat?
It's been a long time since I've seen Angel. I watched it because my ex-wife and my stepdaughter loved it. So,
gotta do that character research. But yeah, you haven't seen this guy. Yeah, bit of a classic. I'm waiting for by Zoltan's hammer. It's been a long time, guys, but see, it leaves an impression. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I was not super warm on this film. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. It lost me after about 25 minutes when it had me quite into it at the start. But I was impressed with Patrick Breen from the start, probably because I can't. I don't know if the accent was bad. It sounded notable to me, but I couldn't tell it was.
It's okay. I really liked Alexandra Shando just because she played it subtle, she played it moody. She was your typical withdrawn teen, and she was mysterious. Why does she insist on being called Blackbird? And then, oh wait, she's a teen girl.
Yes, Gloria, but will only answer to Blackbird. That is intriguing. Yeah, she was great. I wasn't as solid, but when you think about it, I think it's because she was doing the tough thing of underacting it. She was holding back a lot because in the later half of the film, she's much more expressive, and you see where her range is, and you're like, oh, okay, you were really winding it back in.
Well, according to all the notes I've read, we
Mm.
discussed it in DMs. The
Mm.
director force-fed her, to get her into the mood of the film, force-fed her a diet of 9 Inch Nails, Cure, and several other goth rock and goth music,
Mm.
just to keep her in the mood, and the silent, withdrawn, almost the moody teen who is she cracked, or is she just a moody teen, or what's going on? Why is her mother so protective? And then you're not allowed to have pets in the house, kind of threw things wide open. It's and then she killed the bird.
Yeah, this was a really transformative scene. So for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, I mean, it's your kind of home invasion, stranger comes to stay thing. The beats will not surprise you. The family is picked off one by one, and there's a showdown. Like, we all know how this story goes, so we're not spoiling you with that. But to explain this scene in particular, we've been a bit curious about Blackbird for the whole time, right? There are hints that there's something severely wrong, and she seems to be the focal point. Although there are hints of like dirt on the mother, dirt on the father, you don't know which way she's going with this.
Yeah,
Fun things like they aren't allowed any knives out is like an amazing little detail. That
they
just
aren't
gets
allowed
you.
any pets in the house. They aren't. She's not allowed to leave the property. The son sneaks off frequently to bring his girlfriend to his separate apartment, his bunkhouse. But he has to sneak his girlfriend in, which is strange because he seems to be an adult. He's over 18.
Yeah.
And he and his girlfriend are plotting to leave, but he never finds the courage to leave until it's too late.
Yeah. There are all these great little mysteries around, but it's this scene where we sort of cross a line and start to be much more like, oh, okay, it's something about Gloria, something about Blackbird, because her having a little it's a starling, right?
I believe it's a starling.
Yeah.
She's kept it in the house to let it recover. You see in the very beginning that it's sort of injured, and she's kept it so it can be rehabilitated. It flies around the room. She catches it. Her mother freaks out about having animals in the house. And just to spite her mother, she twists the neck of the bird. And Nick, the stranger, is visibly aroused by it. He's just watching this with barely concealed glee.
Yeah, totally. He is thinking jackpot. Yeah, it's a tough scene. I mean, long-term viewers know that I can't watch anything bad happen to animals. So this was a tough double for me, as we will find out when we get to Calvaire, if you haven't seen that already. I literally shuddered. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. But yeah, this was a tough one. It's so clinical when she dispatches the starling.
Very much unemotional. She gets, it's fine. I can't have animals in the house. Crack. And the mother's like, oh God. Gloria is unaffected, and Nick is joyful at it.
Yeah, not thrown off at all. But it's very shortly after this that he then just starts working his way through the family, knocking them out with I would say with aplomb. Like there's kind of a camp turn to the way he takes them out, which I'm delighted in.
Yeah, he goes upstairs with Marilyn, the mother, up into the attic where she has her art studio, and he hits her over the head with a statue. And then starts talking to Matt, the husband, and they start watching the game, and Nick goes in to get coffee, and he's taking too long, so Matt goes to investigate, and Nick walks up behind him and hits him over the head with a hammer. And then the next time you see Marilyn and Matt, they're tied to chairs in the den with a air compressor hooked up to tubing, and it's basically an exsanguination machine.
Yes, indeed. This intrigued me. This intrigued me a lot because typically it would be, you'd have a scene of bloody mayhem, right? But this is deliberately clinical. It's almost passionless.
Well, he considers himself a surgeon, and it's from the very start. He considers himself clean in the way he kills. It's the cleaner it is, the more chance they have of getting to heaven.
Yeah. When the father passed, he said he's gone free. I think was very interesting phrasing.
Yeah. And then Marilyn getting free and staggering up the stairs trying to find the shotgun, which is supposed to be a Chekhov's gun, but
I was going to say it's a Chekhov brand, I believe, from the first scene we see it.
And my feeling was, Nick's going to find it first, and he does.
The way she pulled the shotgun out, I almost expected her to shout to her son, Barbie, you're meant to put this away. Go and put it away in the third act. You just left it out here, etc.
Yeah, this is a fairly simple film. It has its good beats, it has its slow beats, but it has interesting little twists like the exsanguination machine, the reactions of Gloria to watching her brother die, where she actually shows compassion. She is kind of horrified that her brother is killed, while her brother's girlfriend is absolutely freaking out. And you find out while Nick is doing his thing and Blackbird escapes, he's like, well, she's just going to walk in to whatever else, to what I have set up on the road. And when Blackbird and her brother's girlfriend run up the road and meet Beth, who's
I didn't get a shot. I didn't get a shot of her, but I meant to. Hang on, let me see if I can find her, because she reminded me of someone in particular, and it really distracted me.
That poodle hairdo was just...
Oh, gosh darn it. No, I can't find it.
But
she looked like Rachel Dolezal. And I can't...
Oh, man.
What, you don't think so?
Now that you mention it, it does, but I didn't think of it that way. I just thought early 90s poodle do.
I will find
So I just...
Victoria Delpa. I'm
Yeah.
gonna find her.
But that scene where they, please help us, drive us into town. I'm not going to take strangers into town. I'm not crazy. And the girlfriend runs up to her, and Blackbird hauls off and hits her with large stone and beats her to death. This is why I did it. He holds out the fillet knife, which Beth was holding.
Which she probably wouldn't have seen, I think. I don't know. The vibe I got is that Blackbird is just working on a different level.
Well, like she's hyper vigilant. She's hyper vigilant, and by the time they get to that scene, Nick has discovered her stash of animal bones out in the woods. And you realize that Blackbird is a predator. And she's hyper vigilant like a predator is, and she sees the flash of the knife and shows it to the girlfriend, and they're like, oh. And then, where's the keys? It's like, okay. That's just dumb, but
the fact that the car's lights were on even if there weren't keys. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. That definitely struck me.
Well, most American cars you can turn on the headlights without the keys. Especially an older model car like that was. But
you could have burned that battery out.
Yeah.
Then what would they have done?
But I'm just like, yeah, that was a stupid trap for someone you think might be a predator.
I mean, we do get the revelation later that they were specifically selected, and I did like that it's not just like random happenstance. Like
he'd gone.
This is an old movie now, but do you remember Ty West's? No, he didn't direct it. He starred in it. I can't remember who directed it, but You're Next. I think it's 2011, where you find yourself in a weird like slasher genre inversion. Kind of fun, kind of a fun movie.
Well, near the end, you find out that Nick has already been in the town and researched who the Anathema family is. There's always one outsider family in any small town in Middle America. And the Smiths are it. You find out that Marilyn was having an affair with Mr. Bell, and according to Marilyn, in a fit of pique for being cut off, she burned their house down, and her lawyer husband got her acquitted. And everybody hates them after that. Later on, you find out Blackbird is the one who killed the family and then burned the house down to cover her tracks. But
and that shot of the house burning looked really good.
Yes, it did.
Actually, there's a couple of questions in chat I want to get to, but I had these saved because I thought they stood out to me. But early on, and at other points later, but especially early on, the film looks really, really good. Like, this is your title sequence. Just one of the bits of imagery. Oh, that looks gorgeous.
Yeah, they did really well with the budget they were given.
Totally.
And I did like the fact that everything was on the same plot of land, in the same house. You could tell that the reveal scene of the Bell's house was in the same rooms.
Yes.
But they did it masterfully.
Yeah. They if you were wondering, maybe you had a thought in your head, hey, is that just one of the producers' houses? You'd be exactly right. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
There was
The-
also this shot early on. Like, as I said, I loved this. Oh, sorry, that's a bit strong. I was really into it in the first 25 minutes. And it was stuff like the title sequence and then this shot. Like, this is one of our really early meetings of the dad. Sorry, no character names. They never stick in my
Matt.
head. Matt, thank you. And it's like, okay, he's trying to get himself a legal case, get appointed, get a job. And you're like, okay, he looks learned. And then you notice, wait, these books he's got aren't law books. And then this library, wait a second, that's wallpaper. And it just gets you the idea that, oh, hang on, maybe his knowledge isn't genuine. Yeah, he's not that solid a lawyer as you think. And it's a nice bit of scene setting implication. I really liked that.
Well, it doesn't help that he got his wife off the hook, got her acquitted, and made their family just absolutely hated in town.
Yeah, and it's a long time till we get the answer to that, but it does a nice job of sort of setting us up for the mystery.
Yeah. As you go on, once things start spinning up, I do like they did a realistic setup. It's okay, we're going to leave. I have to go in and tell my parents and get the last of my money from them, and then we'll just leave. And that's when Nick takes him out with a slash to the throat. Way too little blood. But they didn't have the budget for it.
No, and they got nice gore. And to be honest, when you do that effect, I don't think I can get away with showing it on YouTube. You do have a bit of a clash because it's for anyone who doesn't know, when you do a cutthroat, generally you're building a sort of fake neck applique on the front, sort of matched on, then usually a kind of liquid latex cover over that, over a layer of gore, and then you will have some tubes feeding blood through. And if you put loads of blood through, you get a nice spray, but you don't really see any detail. To nerd out, like the older 80s style, they would really spray that blood through, but you wouldn't get much gore detail. And I'd say from like the 2010s onwards, there's a very notable trend in throat cutting effects to show a lot more gristle, to do less bleeding and let you see the detail.
Yeah, but
I have normal interests too, I promise.
The blood burst is more realistic. Granted, there are a couple of horror movies from the 80s. Well, granted, they're schlock, but they're almost on par with Kung Fu Theater, where you cut off the head and it just sprays for 30 seconds. It's kind of like the fountain of blood.
The classic for that is there's like 5 different points. Like there's only 5 tubes in the dummy. You don't care. There's enough blood. No one's going to be autistic about it.
Yeah.
Joke's on you, buddy.
No,
this is the internet.
Yeah, too many people have watched Live Leak for too long.
There's some. It's one of the things that they do rather well with CG, is they can enhance that, and like some of them do a nice tear on the throat, so they do a really jagged stab, and that gives you quite a lot of the gristle, but also a good flow. Or Scream 5 had a really good throat cut on the character's name was Wes Hicks, and he was played by Dylan Minervin? I can't remember, but also spoilers, he dies. But he has a really, really good throat cut that kind of does a nice variation where you see the knife slowly go out in and out. It's as I said, I have normal interests too, but I don't get to talk about them on the stream. Lighter topic.
Yes, I'll answer
Pandaji
Lauren.
had a really interesting comment. Just do you think that's fair? Chekhov's gun, anti-MacGuffin?
Yes. It's anything that sets up, you see it in the beginning, and whether you miss it or not, those that see it know it's going to be important later.
Precisely.
And it turns the situation around. It's not a MacGuffin, it's a real piece of hardware that becomes important in the future. And it is an anti-MacGuffin, and this one is rotated on its head because the villain, well, one of the villains finds it before the protagonist does.
But it nevertheless becomes helpful to him because he needs it to take out the cops.
Yeah, which is a sore point with me. But before I go into that, Lawrence
before moving on, I just thought it occurred to me, if there's a question about Chekhov's gun, should we define MacGuffin?
MacGuffin is anything. Take the film Ronin. What are they carrying? You never see it. It's unobtainium. It's the magical thing that everybody is seeking for, but you never figure out what it is.
It doesn't actually... I think the idea behind the MacGuffin is it's a plot driver, but it is, in fact, kind of interchangeable. Like,
it's interchangeable, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's the goal.
Yeah, the classic thing is a Maltese Falcon is a MacGuffin. There's a kind of a modern variant, I think, on the MacGuffin, where it's very flimsy, but ultimately the MacGuffin does sort of trigger the end in a very arbitrary way. Like you're finding a magic crystal whose power is to resolve the plot.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the film, it doesn't do anything. It's just the thing everyone wants.
The thing everybody wants, and it can eventually turn into brain fart. What's the term for it? The Deus Ex Machina.
Yes. Yeah, I think that feels to me like the sort of... I don't know if it's unfair, but I associate it with Marvel. Like, most of the film, no effect. Tricky Menthol. Actually nailing it. Sorry. Brilliant example. Ark of the Covenant. Yeah.
And the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, the hardware case in Ronin, the sword and the stone in the King Arthur myth.
Sharon Stone's snatch in Basic Instinct. Everyone is trying to get it, but it doesn't actually impact the plot that much.
That's more a muffin than a MacGuffin, but yeah. On to Lawrence's question. What?
I wasn't prepared for that. Rare spicy Murgoot.
On to Lawrence. Do you guys think they gave the antagonist a bad Southern accent? Yes, very bad. To justify the family inviting him into their home. Yes, Southern accents are generally seen to be friendlier and simpler. They're disarming. And yes, I could see that. Very much so.
His dress is also the dress of the old Southern gent. Like, I thought he was going to whip out a mint julep, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that triggers a sort of... thought of the old-time hospitality. Like, old-time manners. Like, we should do that, really. Times were better then, etc. It's a sort of mental nudge to engage on that level.
But yeah, that's basically what it is. My one breaking point is the very badly done stereotype of the country sheriff. The two cops are just idiots all the way around. It's
straight
when you
from
see both girls having blood on them.
Yes.
It's, well, we're just going to drive back to the Smith house. That's common thing because just the weirdness. And they didn't go in with guns drawn like freaking morons.
Yeah. It was terrible. Yeah, we've got a rule for this house. She has blood on her face. She is telling you about a murder. Come on. Yeah, these cops were absolutely carrying the idiot ball. They were inexcusable.
That was the downfall of the movie right there. Just what the hell? They could have written that a hell of a lot better. Somebody has. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it because I'll rant for a while.
Yeah, it was interesting in that the girlfriend of the son, no names, was freaking out, and Blackbird just knew the deal and was staying calm. But apart from that, it was I think it was, in terms of generating tension, it was pretty poor. There are ways of doing it. Even I feel the whole playing it off screen and then just letting the cops stagger out was basically a sort of, I don't want to deal with directing this. This will be tricky.
Well, the door's open. There's blood stains on the steps that they see, and they don't draw their gun. And that shotgun doesn't fire like a freaking pistol.
Murgoot, I'm a Brit bong. Explain that to me like I have never held an actual proper gun in my life, because that is true.
Well, the Glocks the cops usually carry have 15 to 17 rounds. And that's what it sounded like was going off. And it's, they're shooting. Maybe they miss Nick, but they're shooting. No, they barely had time to get their guns out. And the shotgun that Nick is toting, judging by the length, it may have been 7 rounds in the pipe. And they fired far too many, and they all sounded the same. The shotgun would have been far deeper, far louder.
Oh, okay.
They used their Foley artist only had one sound, and that's what they used.
That is awkward. I'd also think if these guys were hit by a shotgun, I don't think they'd walk out. Like, I know the thing is, if you're hit by a regular like pistol bullet, you probably do walk around for a few minutes. That you just sort of dropping down dead is a kind of movie convention, but
a shotgun, if it's birdshot, you can probably stagger around for a while. If it's a slug, which is a solid bullet, generally 50 caliber, if it's a 12 gauge shotgun, or a 40 caliber, if it's a 20 gauge shotgun, yeah, that'll put you down flat out.
We Brit bongs do need to be told this, you know. This is detail a lot of us don't have.
Excuse me a second.
No worries. Yeah, it's even without that detail, I think you can see that this was poorly done. And I will say, because this was past the point where I was struggling with the film a bit. I always liked Patrick Breen's performance as Nick. I liked Blackbird. She remained interesting. but I did feel the film was moving into this territory where it sort of it was kind of filling time. You know, not trying to be harsh, but it was a 88-minute film with 83 minutes of story, and I've seen quite a few of these, and if you need to make a few extra minutes, you generally just sort of bring an extra character in or two just to kill them off quickly, or the classic someone escapes and is caught again. Is the other classic if you need to add 4 minutes onto your film.
The 3 minutes could have been cut down to 1.5 minutes of Nick exploring Blackbird's buried stuff out in the woods. They could have rewritten the cop scene to be a little bit better, read a lot better.
And great opportunity to drop some lore about the house, you know, and what was really going on, you know.
Yeah, not just that, but they could have followed standard operating procedure. This is somebody who hasn't consulted with real cops about what the procedure would be. Even sheriff's offices are better prepared now, especially with war on drugs, the higher incidences of methamphetamine, school shootings, everything that... Sorry about that. Combat Air Patrol.
No
I'm
worries.
trying to talk through the sounds of screaming jet engines.
It's all good.
But yeah, that could have been written so much better. I did like the fact that Nick stated that he had a surprise for Blackbird out on the road. And I was expecting another man, not a woman. And the woman was far too easily taken down. That could have been written a bit better. I did like the scene where the son's throat was cut and he dragged him into the house and had his head on a platter while he was doing an last poor Yorick soliloquy to explain basically a lore dump at the same time as just doing his villain monologue to a dead head.
Yes. Also very impressive, I think, effects-wise. So just to be clear for people who haven't seen it, you're just looking at the son's, you know, slashed open throat and face as it bleeds into a plate for well over a minute, and the son does not move at all. And I think they did some really nice effects work to sort of keep him still and avoid all the obvious tells of like breathing, eye fluttering, while the sort of blood accumulated. Very well done.
Yeah. My problem, the exsanguination machine was a nice trick, but why he would be using a 16 gauge needle versus an 8 or a 4 or God forbid, well, a trocar, a mortician's trocar would exsanguinate them too quick. But a 16 gauge needle like they had, that's not that fast. Really, really not that fast.
No. I mean, he doesn't have to go to anything that's sort of in the realm of like body piercing 10 gauges or anything, which a 10 gauge would, well, you could fit a few sticks of spaghetti through one.
Yeah.
Versus if you're in the sort of 14, you could get probably a single stick of spaghetti through it.
Yeah, an
to help people
8
judge the context.
8 gauge, you could get a good 10 pieces of thin spaghetti through it,
Mm.
and that would be enough to do it in the veins in the arm. But yeah, standard phlebotomist 16 gauge needle, no way. They could have done a little bit more research on what they were showing.
Mm.
But I'm a geek. What can I say?
He may, I suppose maybe he wanted to take his time, but I suppose if you're using like a 14 or 12 gauge needle, then you probably don't need the exsanguination machine. But I don't know. There's something about, as you said, he wants to do it clean. I'll just get it back to that image because where is that? Oh gosh darn it! Where is it? Here we are. It's something like clean but genteel. Like there's something about this this small motor, like this quite exposed industrial motor, and just
It's an air
going into milk
compressor and a reversible suction blower air compressor with a tank. And Lawrence, yes, I've seen The Exorcist 3, but most of all, one of my old girlfriends back in college was a mortician's assistant. She took me on a tour.
You're not going to top that for a date.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm a geek. I'm morbid. Hey, everybody has their thing.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do the dirty on the morgue slab. No.
I was not going to ask.
No,
but I was definitely not going to ask. Wait, ex-girlfriend. This comment feels like it's I almost read this in a Crypt Keeper voice. Sorry.
No. She the most polite way I could put it is she was toxic, and not just in a formaldehyde formalin way. She was seriously whack.
Yeah, don't worry. No personal details required, but I think a mortician is let's just say a niche choice. Mindful that we have to cover another film, I thought I would move us on to the finale.
Yeah, where she's...
I was quite impressed by, to be honest. It sort of wanted me back, mostly because it's just down to the two strongest actors again.
Yeah, where she girl bosses Nick and tricks him into the car and handcuffs him to the steering wheel, and they fight for the gun. She ends up shooting him, and he goes on a soliloquy about just, I want to purify, I want to take people. And she's like, you know what the difference between us is? You want to send people to heaven. I enjoy it. You're just like, oh, she really is. Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to Dexter her, and she's not having it.
Yeah.
It was I mean, it's nice, they do have, is a confrontation super believable?
No.
It's a little bit of a push, if we're honest, but he gets a brilliant headbutt in on her, and I liked that she was actually like surprised by it. Like
she was surprised by it, and she was almost somewhat surprised. They were fighting for the gun, and she was surprised when she shot him, and he ended up with the gun because she freaked out and released it. He tries pulling the trigger and it's out of ammo, which shows the cops did fire a lot.
Yeah.
But she was surprised by the headbutt, and she was surprised by the shot going off enough to release the gun to Nick.
Yeah. All the shots of her just now with like blood all over her mouth, which she's kind of savoring it. And I really liked that bit. Like, she got to shine a bit there, like show a bit more. And yeah, it was nice and dark where she was relishing getting a bit bloody and having to fight. But it feels like there's a bit of a meta narrative between like an older style of killer who wants to have a philosophy and just a sort of a newer nihilism.
Yeah,
And it was
I
reminding
have
me
a
of something
mission versus I like it.
Yeah, yeah. It was reminding me of something, and I cannot place it for the life of me. Yeah. A comment from a very subversive waifu. I thought these were fan requests. Who did you piss off enough that they paid to be a member and make you watch these two? Well, that we can thank Paul and John for these requests. And you know what? Sometimes I thought we'd only. I originally thought, you know, we'd only have about half an hour on this, but there's quite a lot you can dig into on this film, so we've done fairly well on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the request for a Battlefield Earth, which keeps coming in. We've managed to fight it off so far, folks. We'll do our best.
Yeah. At this point, I will give my feelings on the movie and my rating.
Sure.
For a first effort, this was pretty good. It was an average film overall, but it had its high points and it had its really low points. But I did like the character of Nick. He was supposed to be friendly and enjoyable even when he's causing mayhem. And I did like Alexandra Chola as Gloria / Blackbird. And she went from shy, moody, and unassuming to straight up psycho by the end. And she did a good evolution of that. By the end, we were talking in DMs, and she reminded me of Fairuza Balk's character in The Craft by the end. Just the
great reference. Yeah.
The hot gothic psycho chick from hell.
Yeah. It's just starting another horror movie. Like we're just seeing a horror movie villain get created.
Yeah.
We just don't realize it.
Well, she's already a villain, but she's gone into her super villain arc at this point. She's been set free of her constraints.
We got ourselves an origin story. Yeah, that is all good. Sorry, what did you say your score was for this? Or do you?
I haven't.
Did you get this in the...
I'm giving.
Sorry, I'm worried I've missed it.
Yeah, I'm giving it 7.5 burgers. It's not quite enough for an 8. It is definitely a first film. It is definitely a bit amateurish, and it has too many low points to be an 8. But there's lots of ketchup, lots and lots of ketchup, slow dripped over the burgers. Absolutely no pickle. I thought it was, in my opinion, it's better than Calvaire, just because Calvaire turned me off. But it was an enjoyable film for what it is. Once I started watching it and saw which production company, I was like, oh, okay, this is first or second timer, and it's very, very low budget, one set. Yeah, this is acceptable. This is, I don't know if I'd rewatch it for a while, but it's definitely worth a watch.
And you do like your Southern Gothic,
Yes, I do.
which helps a lot, I think. Okay, 7.5. I think that's a very fair score. Yeah, I mean, remembering it's Philip Gelatt's first film. You know, he set his ambition at the right level. He was formerly, you know, a comic artist, so it's good going. It's good going. Yeah. Okay. For me, I'm really struggling on this one. It follows a formula, but it's very aware of that formula and therefore plays with it a certain amount, which is quite nice. But the trouble is, there are bits I really, really liked, and then bits I really went off on. And I found, even for a movie with 83 minutes of story, and realistically, given that they had a long title sequence that I liked, beautifully directed, more like 81.5 minutes of story. Come on, you should not be doing filler. And this had some very obvious filler in it, like, come on. And the cops were egregiously stupid. But those aside, great character work from Patrick Breen, Alexander Chandos, very interesting. The start has some lovely imagery. It gets murky in the middle. There are bits of humor that really worked for me, like this kind of light homoerotic bit where you're kind of you're waiting for Nick to take the dad out. I mean, Patrick Breen is a bisexual actor. He is sort of visibly pinging everyone's gaydar, and the film plays with this, and it just makes it it adds a certain frisson to the kind of taking out that's going to happen here. There's just a little extra spice in there. But how do you score that? Because I've got to admit, I was feeling the pull of Twitter during the mid-section where it was doing the time filling stuff, you know. So I'm torn on it. Would I recommend it? I go lower. I go about a 6. You know,
it's watchable.
It's you know, no regrets. Didn't see anything that horrifically offended me. Didn't, you know, just saw people trying to tell a good story, some good character work. But it, you know, it could have been worked on a bit more, because I think there was a tastier story in there. If they'd had the budget to explore that a bit more and go beyond one location, maybe they could have. But things like the revelation about the scandal that plagued the family ended up just underselling for me. So I feel a 6. Don't regret it. It's got some very big strengths, but it's also got some very big weaknesses. And I'll also throw in there, I'm not particularly warm to Southern Gothic. It doesn't do a huge amount for me. So I'm putting my bias up there on the table there. So Paul, I thank you for recommending this. I hope you enjoyed our review. If we missed something obvious, let us know. But thanks for that, and thank you again for being a member. You folks are fabulous. Now, Dr. Prepper, yeah, I barely recommend this one. Well, I don't know. It's all right if you need something to watch. If you want to try it, you're doing pretty well. You know, I'm just saying, I don't think it would be. It wouldn't be one I would go out and say you've got to watch it. You know, I feel like I'm damning it with faint praise there. Murgoot, is that fair? What'd you say?
It's worth a watch if you have a couple hours to spare. It's something It's something to turn on that is not absolute dreck on Netflix or Tubi. It's not schlock. It's intelligent, except the cop part. And the director really was trying. The writer and director really was trying. And it was a good first effort.
Murgoot, you've just made me bump it up half a burger by mentioning Netflix and me realizing actually at no point did this film say it hated me.
Yeah.
That's worth half a burger. Half a burger, no pickle, lots of ketchup. So yeah, there we go. It's not that damning. I'm influenced by Tricky Menthol. Tricky Menthol's a harsh rater. Look at that, 5 burgers. And we did appreciate the brevity, but I still felt the filler. Now, but filler, I barely know her. Terrible, terrible, sir. How dare you, Lawrence? Oh no, we're catching flack for grading on the Netflix curve. I won't do it every time, but yeah, I felt mean for picking on it, and I just realized, yeah, wait, at no point did this say it hated me. So I feel like bumping it up a little bit is needed. I may start doing the Netflix modifier as well as the Todifier. All right. With that said, we will now move on at 1 hour, 11 minutes and 30 seconds, or wherever we are, to Calvaire, our second request here. Threw me off trying to find this, by the way, because I searched for it and it said Calvaire the Ordeal 2006. I was like, what? No, there's 2004. What are you doing? You're messing me up here. But they remastered it. And
they remastered it and had an English version at one point. But the one I saw was the original, the 2004 in French with subtitles. Although I have to say, unlike some of the other French films we've reviewed, their accent was almost perfect. I'm regaining my fluency. I could actually understand half of what they were saying without the subtitles.
Oh, yeah. That's a really interesting point, because when we watched Red Rooms, oh, man, that was hard to understand the French on that.
Well, that was Quebecois. That's why.
Yeah, I felt guilty, though, you know. They had me learning French for about, 7-8 years in school. And, you know, it's still, you know, I just do it Gaelic shrug. That's about my level. Yeah. Steve Shaney, yes. Calvaire. Yeah. Oh, good goat, Steve Shaney. Good goat. Wonderful. All right. Hang on. No, wait.
Or on Calvaire. Oh.
Wait. Calvary, the Brendan Gleeson is a remake? What? Oh my gosh. I saw that. I saw it advertised. I thought that was completely unrelated. Oh my goodness. Okay, I can't watch Brendan Gleeson bum anyone. No, I'm not having it. Sorry, I can't go there. Brown Eye Moody. No, I can't do it. See, already the jokes come out. Oh, Lawrence has confirmed it's a silly joke. Thank goodness for that. You still get a Brown Eye Moody joke, and you'll be thankful for it. Right. I sprang the last one and you didn't. Well, tell you what, let me just set this up first before we do the Guinness summary. So I like to put these next to each other because we've got a nice contradiction. In The Bleeding House, you have the threat come to the house. And in Calvaire, you have the protagonist go to the house, which is the threat. And this is sort of an inversion point for horror. A classic way of talking about this is that your older school horror locates the threat in the foreign. So generally, someone encounters the threat when they go abroad, when they step off the forbidden path, you know, from Red Riding Hood abandoning the forest path to, Jonathan Harker having to travel to the far, far east to meet Dracula. Or even just a subtle thing of Mary Shelley will set the abominable Dr. Frankenstein far off in Geneva, okay? And still make him travel around. So generally they would set the domestic as a place of safety and the foreign as a source of danger, that if you went to that, if you stray from the path, if you stray from tradition, that is where you will meet weirdness and doom. Whereas in the modern age, typically it is the threat coming to you. That would be the typical distinction. That's kind of a classic way of talking about horror. It doesn't entirely hold up, as I'm sure you can think of many an example, but it's generally kind of interesting framing to sort of help you understand the anxieties around horror. The sense that actually it says quite a lot about modern times, that we feel the threat is coming to us. In modern horror movies, typically Halloween is your turning point for that. So I thought it was interesting that we had the two versions of the story here. I did not know they were both going to pivot around people not wanting to be called Gloria. That is extremely specific. But there we go. Happy accidents. This is another debut feature. This is from Belgian director Fabrice Welz, and he had done a couple of shorts before this, but this is the first full-length one. And it is a confusing encounter for many of us. It is once again a short one, 88 minutes long, almost exactly the same length as The Bleeding House. But you really are encountering a completely different worldview in this. It will surprise. This film is really tricky unless you accept it is a black comedy, and that the director is intending you to laugh at it at many points. Put it in the line of sort of funny games, Man Bites Dog. Man Bites Dog, probably the better comparison, given the country of origin. But there is a very, very grim sense of humor in here. But I think this goes into some really, really weird, uncomfortable places. Some of which are easier to take than others.
We'll get into that a little bit.
We will. I think we can make sense of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's give the Guinness pour a try.
All right. I'm going to have a palate cleanser. I should say, for reference, Murgoot, the Guinness tonight is actually a Trappist Rochefort 8, which I don't know. It's not my favorite of them. It's quite strong for what it does, and it's a little weak in the middle. I wouldn't recommend it. The 6th or the 10 is probably the way to go if you ask me. But okay. I know, Steve Chaney. It is intended to be funny. I mean, there may indeed be something wrong with you. Check with your doctor. But no, it's not you that's messed up. It's Belgium. Okay. So, gosh, are hogs used for tracking? John Gorst, I think it's why I sort of thought of this film as Straw Hogs at one point. Okay, I know. Yeah, what, Murgoot? What the heck? How do I describe this weird mashup of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Deliverance, Psycho, and Straw Dogs? Where do we go with this? Oh my goodness. What kind of film could combine all of the... Fade to Black as well. I know there's at least one person who's seen 1980s Fade to Black in here.
I don't remember it. I know I've seen it.
But it opens with this shot. Yay! All right, that's basically the only connection. But it starts with the chap putting on theatrical makeup. So, you know, okay. Ooh, Misery. Yeah, Misery. Yeah. Prominent pig. Creative person kept captive. Yeah, I could see it. Okay. Right, let's stop doing a dalliance. This is a comedy, but there is some fun stuff in there. There's a lot of clever stuff, and it's going to be a film I think you will certainly admire a lot more than you enjoy. Many such cases with continental European horror. I didn't need to say continental. No, I did. Anyway, let's move on. Calvaire, pint of Guinness summary. Let's go. Mark Stevens, not his real name, is a low-rent traveling chanson singer. He is doing low-rent gigs around retirement homes and looking for that next big opportunity. This, I think, is the key to understanding the movie. He gets lost going down country roads. The country roads do not. I mean, what in the room T37 is going on here? He sure has his admirers, but not the ones he wants. What he wants is fame and success. Yes, he is propositioned by the biddies.
Yeah, he doesn't want the geriatric group.
No, but he doesn't want a nurse either. He doesn't want the nurse. I thought the nurse was all right. They're all won over by his love songs. This is important. He goes off driving, but in the woods he gets lost in the fog. Deep symbolism. I tried to connect this to Dante. I failed. But having set up that his van does not work super well. Hello, Years. Good to see you. Nice of you to drop by. Hope all is well with you. Knowing his van is not working super well, we are not surprised when he breaks down. He needs help, and luckily there is a chap called Boris who appears a bit, shall we say, touched. I think if I say touched, that gets me past the YouTube censorship. But he may be described equally as distressed or special needs. He is looking for he's looking for his dog Bella. He's very upset about her. Mark tries to help him out and point where she went, and then gets directions to a local auberge, an inn where he can stay, the Auberge Batal, and he's put up in there, where he immediately lies in this pose on the bed. Interesting, very interesting sort of, is he preempting the classic fortnight tea pose? No. It may be some other reason he lies in this sort of arms out position. Maybe that'll become relevant later. Mr. Bartel is an odd fruit.
He's a former stand-up comedian.
He is indeed. He's very keen for Mark to be there. He's delighted that there is a fellow performer there, as he says. Some would call this forced teaming, if you have heard that phrase in, say, maybe, what's his bloody name? The guy who wrote Gift of Fear. No, never remember the name. Interesting book, though. Forced teaming. He tries to bond them together, saying they're both performers, and sets up that sadly his performance, he just hasn't felt like telling his jokes since his wife Gloria left. Terrible. But he is going to help fix the van. There is a great aura of things are not right all over this. Lots of weirdness sets up, and although Mark is told that the van is going to be completed, repaired anytime, and he'll be able to move on and make his way to his Christmas gala, where he's sure to be spotted by the talent scouts, the producers, that will get him the riches and the career he wants. You know, he's being strung out here. He goes out for a walk. While he goes out for a walk after being warned not to go to the village by Bartel, Bartel breaks into the van, making it very obvious, you know, just crowbars the back open. There's no way he's not going to see it. And has a peek around. By the way, Murgoot, did you think that the statue had a boner?
No, I didn't even notice that.
You see, now I feel guilty. Chat.
All
Chat,
I
did
saw
you
was
think this-
books.
Chat, I'm not weird in this, right? You thought the statue had a boner, right? Chat? Help me out. Chat, I'm going to watch you for that. I saw that and thought it was deliberately priapic. Yeah, see, John Gorris sees boners everywhere. There we go. I also like that Mark Stevens' poster, he's kind of doing the classic Pepe pose. All right, well, Dr. Prepper is pretending not to have seen the boner. Steve Shaney has accepted the boner. Excellent. And Tricky Menthol has seen a Cliff Richard book. My goodness. I missed it. Focusing more on Cliff Richard than the boner. Who knew? We get very interesting clues inside there when he's rifling around. Now, obviously, we all enjoyed the... I think I can get away with this. We all enjoyed the nurse's photos.
Hot
I can get away with that, can't I? That's fine. Cheeky Polaroids. I mean, as I said, this is a very, very, very black comedy. But yes, one of the things we find in there is basically he seems to have his whole life in the back of this van, and one of the things we get the picture of is actually his name isn't Mark Stevens. It's Pavel Volgansky. Mark Stevens is a stage name. I know. Changing your Eastern European sounding name for something more Western in show business, unheard of. But nevertheless, he did do that. It's not remarked upon in any dialogue. You just have to be watching for it. But I think it's important. Anyway, Bartel has finished rooting around. But Mark is out wandering the land, and I'm going to be honest. This is a bit I'm going to struggle to speak about. I have a decent chance that if I had not been watching this for a stream, I would have stopped the movie at this point, because this is difficult.
Inbred villagers, Ned Beatty and poor calf.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. A whole bunch of extremely degenerate yokels. I don't even want to describe this, but yes, as you said, taking advantage of a calf. I hated this so much. Without going into the analysis, just this is like my own personal problems are like, you know, TCG can't watch any injections. I hate anything involving animals suffering. This made me feel so grossed out. I was distracted for honestly the next quarter of an hour. I just kept thinking of this and feeling disgusting. Ugh.
All I could think was Deliverance.
Yeah.
It's
And for Britbongs watching,
the hardest part.
Yeah. The fact that there's literally a pig there as well. It's just they're all watching as well. It's ugh. God
I
damn it.
expected them to come out in French, the French version of "You have a pretty mouth, boy."
Yes. Oh gosh darn it! Gosh darn it! Yeah, it's Although for
Well,
Brits,
they did
it
call the
does.
calf tender.
They did. They did. It's many regrettable things about this. But yes, it does confirm for any Britbongs, you know, kids will indeed do anything for the taste of Dairy Lee. Moving on. A very memorable scene, where we get a little sharing of the skills and something that seals the fate of Mark. I'm going into quite some detail because I think quite a lot of people won't have watched this, so we'll give the full plot to make it make sense for you. Bartel basically tries to bond with Mark, and with this creepy looking dude looking down on him, tells him an admittedly very funny joke. Really quite nice. You're not sure how it will translate, but it worked well. But having done that, coaches Mark into singing for him, singing a love song for him.
Which you find out triggers... earlier on, Bartel has talked about how Gloria left him and ran away with somebody else to get away from the village. And you find out later that this is the trigger point to trigger him into the Folie à Deux.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you've got all the setup has been done in the first half. There is a very twisted logic in this, like the other very twisted black comedy from continental Europe. Imagine that. I think it's Patrick Süskind's Perfume. If basically there's just an ongoing joke that wherever the protagonist goes, as soon as he leaves it, the person living there dies. It's like I don't know, like he just constantly dorms with Spinal Tap drummers. They die in increasingly hilarious ways. It's a very weird black comedy style that's very continental. Adam Loves Horror, thank you for sending $2 saying at work but looking forward to the rewatch. Well, thank you. Always appreciated. And thank you again for being very generous last week. You were a big part in pushing us over the line and making sure we hit the stream goal. So thank you again, Adam. Hope you enjoy it on the rewatch. So there is an ongoing, very dark joke in that his love songs work. His love songs really do make people love him. In fact, all music in this, and there is no soundtrack, so it's entirely diegetic. So whenever you only get music when people are making music in the story, and people seem to be entirely compelled by music in a very magical sort of way. But yeah, this seals his date, seals the deal for him. The love song works, and Bartel then becomes convinced that he's Gloria. He sort of finds out Bartel's been up to some nonsense, goes back to his room. All his stuff has been taken out, and Gloria's dresses are there. I will point out that Waifu predicted this. I don't know what that says about her. Chat, please don't think about too much or overanalyze it. But seeing the dresses in the cupboard gets you thinking, oh, this film is going to go into an extremely, extremely weird direction. I'm very glad that it didn't go as far as it might have in that direction. I think if this were an American movie, we'd be basically looking at a... Well, if any of you saw Hard Candy, that but the surgery actually happening. Tricky Menthol, I 100% said that to Waifu in the middle of the screening. Is that, Murgoot, is that too British a reference?
No.
You're my wife now, Dave. We can all do that here. It's part of our schooling. It's essential.
Well, somebody earlier, I can't find it, but somebody mentioned that they were laughing like this was a rejected Monty Python sketch.
Well,
with the cross-dressing and all that.
Yeah, 100% in this scene here, where he's being lifted up and down in a dress on the back of the tractor. I thought there was a bit of a John Cleese energy to him.
Especially talking about broken down carnival rides and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought it genuinely looked very Monty Python. But yeah, basically Bartel is now fully kidnapping him, making him Gloria. And very importantly, I think, because I am going to go autistic in reading this, shears his hair. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think the shaven head helps him pass. And at no point does Bartel stick a wig on him. Like, if you would...
He's making Mark / Gloria ugly so the men in town don't try and take her.
Do you reckon that's what he's up to?
That's what he says.
Oh, gosh darn it. Ugh, I managed to miss that. Apologies. Okay, that helps a bit. I was wondering. But I definitely noticed that he's shearing him. Like, those are shearing scissors. Now, this will be the second instance of a sort of weird crossover between mistaking humans as animals and animals as human. In fact, identity confusion is a driving ingredient. Having put him in a dress and got him hair just right, so he looking good, Bartel's going to bum him. Now, very noticeably, we don't see it graphically. It's obviously happening, but notice the mirror. Huh? Mirror. The tripartite mirror. I mean, hang on, you see it a bit better here. It's the tripartite mirror. So there's the same showbiz mirror is now showing him getting his chuff rammed. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically humiliations continue. He does try and escape, but it doesn't go well. He's caught in a snare and then brought back to Bartel. Bartel is seen taking him back by the villagers, which is an instigator for later in the film. Quite grim there, by the way. Something about the way they've opened the pig up from that end also kind of implies maybe other things they might do. It's just a little implication. And then Mark is harshly punished. Now, if this were an American film, if this were like the classic torture porn I was kind of expecting, the finale would be like him getting his meat and 2 veg hacked out. And this crucifixion scene would have been like shot up with like big close-ups of the nails going in.
Yeah, with the hammer strikes.
Yeah.
And
but they're just like weirdly, they really underplay it, sort of telling you that is not the focus, that's not what they're interested in, not what this movie is about at all. Bartel has got him there, walks into the village, walks past a whole bunch of children all wearing the same kind of jacket that Mark is, interestingly. To be, we'll return to this.
Well, it also ties in with the dwarf soccer player joke too, which is interesting.
Hell, of course it does. Good call. Yeah, they've got a ball. I had a different reading of it, but yeah, they're actually all in sports kit. Good call. I think there's more to it, but maybe it's just that. I don't know. Maybe I overthought this. Okay. Bartel goes to a bar where he's distinctly not welcome and is basically not served. The villagers clearly all look down on him, consider him a freak. There's a weird humor.
By their standards is really freakish because they're all inbred hillbilly or Belgian hillbillies.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they are properly sort of. I don't know how you cast people for this, Murgoot. Like, because you've got. I don't think I've got a good shot of them. I felt guilty doing it, but you have to put out casting for people and basically say, we want you looking inbred. Please be as atavistic as possible. There are some people who look sufficiently different that you could probably say there is a syndrome attached to it. You know, I'm trying to say that in a nice way. They look super, super inbred. Like they'd put Bradford to shame. It's okay. They don't speak English. I can get away with that one, Murgoot. Don't worry about it.
That psychotic waltz.
Yes.
One of the brothers plays on the upright piano, and just all the men pairing up and just staggering around the room.
Yes, Bartel leaves, and look, I think we're probably going to get zapped for this, but I've got to do it. Murgoot, shall we play a little bit of this scene?
It's if you want to.
I'm going to give it a go. Right. I hope I don't get a bloody ad on this. If we get an ad, I'll stop. But hopefully you're going to hear the audio. Can tell me if you hear the audio.
Yes.
You're just going to enjoy
I hear.
I will say this is my favorite part of the movie by a long way. And apologies for this being absolute potato vision, but you get the idea. Guy's actually kind of funky on the piano, isn't he? I'm certainly not providing commentary just to try and avoid any fair use claims. Certainly no one would make a spurious copyright claim on this stream. Jeremy Corbyn's looking young and vigorous.
Even the bartender's dancing.
Yeah. I love it. I haven't got a clue what's going on here, but it's absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant bit of time wastage. Aside from to show that the inbreds are truly inbred.
I'm gonna stop that there, but yeah, that's the best scene in the movie. I love it. Yeah, just nightmarish, weird, extremely compelling, hilarious. I honestly don't know what to make with that, but I loved it. I couldn't believe we were so close to the end when we got to that. All right, rounding off the plot. I'm sorry I take ages with this. I'm terrible at it, Murgoot. Rounding off the plot, Boris, his plot line pays off. Bella isn't a MacGuffin. He kidnaps the calf that the villagers had been abusing earlier and now thinks it's his missing dog, Bella. The villagers then storm the property to get the calf back.
Kill Boris. Kill
Bartel. And then, because at this point you absolutely know you are in a dark comic mode, they also see Mark as Gloria. And it turns out the eldest of the villagers was having an affair with Gloria and loves her too. And they're about to bend Gloria over the table and give her the Tory party conference special. And luckily, Mark/Gloria manages to escape. So they start tracking him down. They end up wandering back through swamps and the forests, and Mark comes across a crucified Jesus who manages to look extremely like him.
This is where the title of the film comes from, Calvary.
Yeah, it's the most baffling element of it for me, to be honest, Murgoot.
Yeah,
why the Jesus stuff is brought into it?
Well, supposedly it's a graveyard, but that's the only thing that you see of the graveyard, really.
And the eldest villager ends up sinking into the swamp, declaring his love for Gloria. And bizarrely, Mark says, yeah, that she did indeed love him. An extremely confusing choice for me. And then you have about a 2-minute montage going back through foggy woods. And that is Calvaire. Yes. So, Murgoot. I'm sorry, I took absolutely ages to cover that. I cannot do the Guinness summary quickly. How did you find Calvaire, Murgoot?
It was interesting, but it was unappealing. But some of the details were really well done. But the entire village entranced in the Folie à Deux was bizarre. It was hilarious, but it was bizarre. Where everybody thought Mark was Gloria. The contagion spread from the innkeeper to them. Just the photography was really good.
Yes, absolutely.
But it was creepy as hell. It was fragmented in places. I did like the details of the van. I found in the very beginning, I may not be here by next year, the aging beautiful woman. It's take me, and he starts and then pulls his hand back like it's on fire. And then the nurse corners him out of the van. And the former beauty is staring out of the window, disgusted. That was off-putting right from the start. And I knew it was going to go bizarre from there.
Territory. Yeah. Like, you're almost like, oh, please don't let her hit on him. He does, and you know you're going for some really uncomfortable stuff. Have you seen Michelle Haneke's The Piano Teacher?
I haven't seen The Piano Teacher. I've seen the piano, but not The Piano Teacher.
Okay. It's sort of like a tonal match for this. And of course, French production. So I feel like there's that similar mindset, but great at absolutely horrifying you whilst not being an obvious horror film and going into its extremely uncomfortable places without giving you the traditional horror cues. I wondered if that was an inspiration for it. Like, this early section really reminded me of it. There are other references that people are already talking about. I mean, we mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre already. John Goris is 100% correct about the dinner party scene where Paul and Boris are sort of laughing at Mark, and then Mark is chaotically laughing, and you're getting close-ups on his eye. There's another big part of that's a really direct Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference, which people tend to forget about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but in that film, one of the weird bits is that Leatherface, your big threat of the film, he is made to drag up. Like, in the dinner party scene, they've put makeup on him. He's wearing an apron. It's a very clear, like, he has to become the mummy of the Sawyer family. And it's just like an extra extremely disturbing detail. Like, you don't know how far they take that, but they seem to think that they need to put makeup on him anyway, so you don't know what else is going on there. Maybe best not to think about, but given that Mark has also been forced into basically terrible drag there, I felt that was a very clear reference to it as well. Let's see. Is Mark a Christ figure suffering for our sins? That is an interesting question, John Goris. God, I could not make the religious angle stick. I could not get myself to an understanding of the film where any of the Jesus symbolism matched what was happening. It seemed, yeah, I could not make that connection. I mean, how about you, Murgoot? Did it have a genuine sort of Christian connection for you in any way?
It didn't seem like it. That's why him coming across the crucifix at the old graveyard was kind of jarring. It's like, why is that featured so heavily? Why do I care? I don't know. I didn't see the point of it. By the title and the English subtitle, it's Calvaire, Calvary, or the offering. It's like there was no real Christian symbolism in it aside from the crucifixion. Nobody cries out to God. Nobody references the Bible. Nothing like that. There's no real connection there.
No, it threw me off massively because it seemed to be that's not what it was about. What's going on in it is like a consistent just confusion of roles. Like Boris is able to see a calf as his dog, Bella. They use a pig as a dog, a very good pig. 10 out of 10 woodwalkies. Mark is mistaken as Gloria multiple times. You know, there's multiple.
Everybody believes him to be Gloria. I mean, the Folie à Deux has carried through the entire village. Speaking of that, Dr. Prepper brings up a good point. I did wonder as I watched what happened to all the women. Gloria was the woman of the story. Everything else, once I noticed it, I was like, are they taking hints from the X-Files band episode Home, where all the brothers are together and they have their mother, sister with amputated limbs on the sled under the bed? I'm like, ew.
Sticks in the brain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That one. So was that banned for you as well? Because just as a minor derail, the BBC did not broadcast that episode, but it was released on the DVD.
It was broadcast originally here, and then all further reruns were banned until about 2005, when the DVD versus the high definition DVD and Blu-rays started coming out. It was one that was very hard to find for a while. It's one of the best stories they told, but it was also one of the most disturbing out there.
No doubt. It I believe that the writers of that, didn't they go on to make the Wrong Turn movies? I may be wrong on that.
Let me look it up.
While you're doing that, the good question is like, where are the women? Well, the director has said that basically Bartel and Mark are the only real characters, which I'm not sure how we're meant to interpret that. it's confusing enough as it is if the others are all meant to be some kind of variant of Bartel. But yeah, the absence of women is a really interesting factor, and it's something that I found so fascinating about this shot, which we might as well return to. I feel like an absolute idiot for not connecting it to the dwarf football team joke that was told earlier. But my reading of it is like, how can you have kids in this village if there are no women around, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are no women, so those kids can't be there. And then I was like, well, they're dressed the same as Mark when he's been forced to be Gloria. So is there some way in which these are like little echoes of Gloria's past, you know? Some idea that maybe they're like, he's had so many Glorias and these are like his imaginary offspring of them.
Maybe. Kim Manners directed and James Wong wrote.
There we go.
Home. And then
Kim Manners, that's really familiar.
Then it was not the Wrong Turn series.
Apologies. I'm going to have to look up Kim Manners. That's going to drive me absolutely mad if I don't look that up. Oh, there we go. Supernatural. Yeah, I've only seen his name about 400 times. That. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I might be looking too far into this, but I just thought the fact that they're dressed up in the same clothes as Mark, the same red top, I don't know. It just, to me, I got the impression that he's just done this over and over again and find some way of suppressing that. You called it a folie à deux. Did you think there was maybe in a sort of David Lynch way, do you think there was anything else going on there? Like, I've got my schizo reading, but I wondered if you saw something else in it.
They were so the villagers were so weird and out of place that they were almost hallucinatory. You'd mentioned in DMs that the director only considered Mark and the innkeeper as being real, even though it was, I'd almost say Boris was real too, just because Boris pointed him up to the inn. But I could see Mark falling in with folie à deux with the innkeeper just because of the constant pressure, stress, and abuse suffered. But I didn't read it that way after a while because the villagers were too concise. They were seen originally molesting the calf by Mark without all the weirdness influence from the innkeeper. He saw them. He didn't just hallucinate them.
Nope, they were doing their own thing.
And as I said, Boris came along looking for Bella and pointed Mark towards the inn. So I don't know which direction. I could take the director's pointer, but I think they were all real.
Yeah, I know the director said it, but I can't go too far with that comment. It's just it's very hard for me to understand the film if that is correct, because too many characters have agency and effects on the plot. So yeah, I'm going to boldly disregard the director's comments, just like I did for The Matrix, and that worked out fine, and no one complained. So that's fine. I thought I'll throw something out there. I may have just been watching too much David Lynch stuff, but I feel we go into quite heavy allegorical territory once we go through the fog, right? Your fog is your transitional symbol, your Dante. I was wandering through a dark, lonely wood and lost my way, right? It's a transitional point where we might say we leave the real world and enter something a bit more allegorical, right?
A very Silent Hill moment.
Precisely. Well, Silent Hill 2. What happens? How does James get from the Toluca Lake lookout point into the town itself? He wanders through a dark, foggy wood. Classic. I wondered if there was maybe a coherent reading where we can see that what Mark is looking for is fame, right? Now, we know his Mark Stevens as a stage name. He has changed who he is to try and get fame. Fame, success, and adulation. And he is driving to a Christmas gala where he's hoping to be seen by big producers. So we might see that this is his sort of journey to become a star. At this point, we sort of go through the fog and enter something that is more experiential. And in his experience, they learn a little bit about who he really is. Pavel Volgansky. He maybe sees... Oh, gosh. For some reason, I'm not able to... why is that not... Oh, good. He sees some pretty horrible things, maybe some, group casting sessions. Is this a bit of a producers meeting? It's a little putting the cow in casting couch. Am I right? Hey-o. Yeah, I know. But in order to move forward, basically, Mark's not able to be himself. Mark is transformed into what the producers want from a star, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's transformed into what they want from him. And then this reflection of, this is a reflection of the reality. This is why we have his showbiz mirror is showing him basically getting bummed by casting. Ouch. Yes. Gosh darn it, John Gorris. More like a star is torn. Am I right? All right. Okay, we're done. Technically, these are horrible events, but we do love a pun. So there we go. Yeah, like this is. I feel we enter, like Lost Highway, a pretty allegorical thing about what happens to you on the way to fame. You are just trussed up and moved around for a bit of entertainment, used as you are needed. You are as people need you to be, which is why, the villagers only see the stage name, only see Gloria. So, yeah. That it's not as intricate a reading as Lost Highway, which is, a much more conscious attempt to really do that story and tell a quite involved story about making movies in Hollywood. But it feels like underneath the extreme black comedy that wants to genuinely lead into the absurd, it is maybe getting at some of those truths about what it is like to seek fame.
And Mark's hit all the pitfalls.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, waifu asked me about like, but why Mark? Why is Mark Gloria? And I thought, and this might sound a bit 2010s feminist, so forgive me, Murgoot, but if you show that quite typical actress experience happening to a dude, as well as being very black comedy, it also stands out to you a bit more as wrong. Like Mark being shoved into a dress stands out a lot more than if you take a regular female singer and shove her into a dress, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We are reminded, you know, how many times have I gone on this tangent? I think I'm getting brain damage. But Avril Lavigne, you'll recall, was a country singer. She was signed up as that, and then they decided that she'd be punkier. You know, Katy Perry had 5 attempts at being a pop star, being a country singer, a Christian singer, until they found the sort of kitsch 50s thing that they do with her. Basically, all of these stars were given an image. Lady Gaga, I think very much was given an image that, you know, they put her out to do various things, but she wasn't weird at the start. They just realized that weird
She was
sells.
a bass pianist and folk rock singer.
Yeah.
And she transformed into a weirdo and then into a pop diva.
Yeah, people realized that that's what would sell for her. So that was the image she had to do. Can you imagine that meeting where they were like, Stephanie, this is working out great. We love the vocals. We want to spread a rumor that you're trans. Like, what? Imagine
want you to
see
wear
that.
a meat
Trust me,
dress.
they're gonna love it. Yeah, you're gonna dress up in meat, and people will think you have a dong. Like, can you imagine that? Yeah, Justin Timberlake, they did the same thing.
Hell,
Disney-
all the boy bands.
Disney
were
pop
all
stars
groomed.
forced to be gay comes to mind. Jojo Siwa. Interesting, Maverick. You know, I have a very unpopular theory that Chappelle Rowan is entirely straight and is gay for pay, as they say. But that's just my schizo theory, and I'm sure is crazy. And she is genuinely happy in this image that she does, and it's absolutely not a marketing ploy. But that's just me. Sorry for that extremely weird tangent. I'm sure it's the last thing John Graham wanted for us to be talking about Katy Perry.
Oh boy.
How did this work as horror for you, Murgoot?
It was horrifying in parts, but it was the discomfort of it was more the discomfort of Deliverance and the brutality of the backwoods than it was it was more psychological. People break down and do strange and wicked things rather than true straight up horror. Nothing supernatural about it, more psychotic break.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's one of the stronger things about it. It is definitely not typical horror, but it had many moments that just made me so uncomfortable, like compelled, but extremely uncomfortable. There were lots of bits where I thought I knew where it was going, and it decidedly did not do the standard thing. And by the time it got to this set where we see a really impressive shot of just like an overhead of the chaos that happens when the villagers storm Bartel's house, I was prepared for an extremely horrible scene of basically them all railing Mark and they didn't need to do it. They didn't actually need to show that because they basically set the emotional groundwork that I knew they could show it.
Yeah.
Which means I felt that really horrified, disgusted reaction to it. And then they didn't actually need to be that graphic. So I thought, good going. John Graham saying he accepted it as a black farce and then realised there was a lot more going on. Yes. Definitely farcical. Definitely, folie à dire. But yeah, there's, I think, deeper stuff. I mean, John, if there's anything else that you noticed, if you can make sense, especially of the religious angle, I'd really like to know, because I feel like that is a bit, it sounds like neither of us can make that work. If it's just Calvary is just a stand-in for a bad thing that happens, but it's like, why then specifically crucify him? Why try?
Well, Mark has made himself a martyr unwittingly, but that's about as far of a reach as I can get.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, we're getting on till 3:15. Let's see.
Yeah, but I mean, by the end, I think there seems to be a thing where when he actually tells the last guy he loves him, it's almost like he sort of steps into it. If we're talking martyrdom, he kind of steps into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would make sense of the Jesus statue where the statue looks like him. Oh, John, you did an analysis. I 100% want to read that. I know your analysis of men was great and will be very useful when I do my men stream. I'm going in a slightly different direction, but you did a really good job unpacking and researching some of the symbolism. So absolutely, please do send a link. Hopefully it comes through. If not, I will try and find it, but post it. Yeah, so by the time they're doing this, I assume he's actually trying to comfort the guy because on some level he's accepted his role. Certainly he was sort of mentally broken in the dinner scene as we saw, but it makes sense that he's martyred to his cause, possibly accepting that he's got the adoring fans he wanted.
Too much so.
But weirdly, at the start, I don't know. Do you have a take on why he I mean, you don't have to explain why he rejects his very old admirer. But why do you think he rejected the nurse?
Well, Madame Langford made him very, very uncomfortable. He's on a deadline. And most of it was just he was uncomfortable after Madame Langford and everybody's watching, basically. He's very insecure about himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Or insecure, or I wondered if he was more cynical about it. Like if he just kind of views her as a bit lowly. Oh, I mean, there we go. Yeah. If he's actually just kind of cold and thinks she'll get in the way, that she will not help him realize his dreams. John, if you posted a link, it did not come through. But I think I do have your film blog, so if you are okay with that, you've asked to post a link, so I'm assuming you are going to be okay. Got it. Right. Apologies, folks. I know this maybe isn't the highest streamed content while I'm looking for a link, but I had to look that up. Oh my gosh. No, it's not Bloomin' Heck. It's not exactly making it easy for me to find it.
You don't have it bookmarked at all?
No, not on my desktop. Not on my desktop. I'm sorry, I should be able to get it. Google, why are you failing me? Yay, there we go. Right, apologies, John, I should be able to get this. Got him. Right. I obviously haven't read this exact piece. I didn't want to spoil myself, but I am going to post that there. That should come through. John, do tell me I'm correct. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah, there we go. I'm so certain that's the one. And folks, I will. There we go. I will just say, let me get that up on screen. Honestly, John does excellent film analysis on there. It's high quality. So if you want a good film analysis blog, there's your one. Okay. So link in the live chat and it's on screen for you now. So you should be able to find that. And I will look forward to reading that later. As I said, yeah, the analysis of Men was excellent. I'm being mindful of the time. I feel there's depths to it that we haven't plumbed. Like this is maybe one that needs several rewatches to completely unpick. But I like my reading of it as a sort of extremely dark tale of chasing fame and getting lost and then losing yourself.
Yes, that was my take on it. So
excellent.
Very basic.
Not that schizo though.
No.
I'll take it. Well, I'm being mindful of time. Shall we do our closing thoughts and scores for Calvaire?
Certainly. It was well photographed. I did like the non-soundtrack. The only pieces of music were done on screen. I found it too disturbing to enjoy. Bestiality and grape. Sorry.
It's all right.
Are very disturbing topics, and I get squeamish and I get angry. And just the stereotypical inbreds kind of took away from it. I did like the folie à deux part where everybody fell into the same trap, including to a point Mark at the end. But it was too disturbing in the wrong way. Most horror I can deal with. I mean, I can deal with faces of death. But twitchy topics like what I mentioned before are very, very off-putting to me. I give this 5 burgers, ketchup, very bizarrely shaped pickles. It's and it's a bit cheesy in places. It's kind of scattershot, and the waltz scene at the bar was just what the hell.
That's all right in general. I mean, if you don't enjoy it and you're like, this will be horrific, a 5 is very, very generous. That feels like a respectful, well done, well put together. I hated it. A very gentlemanly review, Murgoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, it really reminded me of Dogville. You know, that kind of vibe to it. But we've got a mix this. We've got a 5 from you. We've got an 8 from John Gorris. A strong 11 out of 12 from John Graham. John Graham respecting the Tony Todd rule there. I appreciate that. And a 7 for Dr. Prepper. I am so torn on this one because I absolutely did not enjoy it. It was an ordeal of itself, no pun intended, which I think it's meant to be. Obviously, a lot of continental horror will lean very hard in a direction of not trying to be enjoyable. We can reach back to Piano Teacher, Cachet. I mean, something that comes to mind I watched recently was 7 Days, which is a fairly recent French film. And it's just, yeah, gosh. It's about a revenge, like a dad decides to kill the guy who graped and murdered his 11-year-old daughter, or maybe she's like 8 or something. Over 7 days, really drag it out, and it's about the sort of the drive for revenge, but the cost for revenge that ends in a way I did not expect, that an American film would not have done. But gosh darn it, they show the ordeal the daughter will have gone through. They showed far too much detail to the point that I was like, oh, this film has moved into not fun. And it seems to be a way that continental horror will make itself not enjoyable. So this is tough to review. It's something I massively respect, but I definitely didn't enjoy. So I think if I understood it more, I would be raising it up. As Steve Shaney said very well, this definitely needs a repeat viewing that I'm definitely not going to give it. Extremely well said. You've captured my thoughts, Steve Cheney. Like Funny Games, it's bloomin' well made, but a tough watch. Massive credit to Fabrice Welz for making this his debut full-length film and making it so well, not wasting time. Maybe about the only thing that slows it down is some of the forest panning, but I think that's clearly giving a message, and the van search. But I was kind of into that scene. I got into it. I found myself wondering just what was going to be uncovered. So even if it was taking up a bit of the time, you got information and you got it without exposition. So I let it pass. The trouble is, I just wanted to turn it off once horrible things happened to a calf.
Yeah,
the second we hit this theme,
Lawrence puts it 7 burgers as long as the beef is tender.
Yeah. The tricky thing is I would have probably turned it off once we got to this scene. I'm a sensitive soul when it comes to that. What can I say? It's somewhat made up for by this brilliantly nightmare scene where the guys seem to be just like puppeteered by the music, the way music really casts a spell on people in this film, the way they are all turned into like weird, bizarre marionettes by the piano. It's deliciously insane. I am avoiding giving a score.
What?
I find myself avoiding giving. I am going to settle on one, and I'm torn because I just did not enjoy it. I'm going to go for a 7.5. No, that's unfair. All right, I'm going to give it an 8. I really respect this film. I think it has guaranteed depth to it. It's a bit of mad genius. I am very tempted to watch more. The rest of the Ardennes trilogy from Fabrice Welz, I want to know. But I'll be going into them bloody wary because this was a tough watch. So it's one of those ones like Funny Games, massive respect for it, but very hard to enjoy in a way. That's what I'm going for. Very weird, unwelcome pickles. Polaroids were okay. Little bit of ketchup. Misshapen bats. Oh, yeah. Gets an 8 for me. I respect what you did, but gosh darn it, why did you have to? Yeah, it seems like we have covered a wide range with the scores there. John, I hope we did you justice. I'm certainly looking forward to reading your piece on it and seeing what else was in there. I know I will have missed some things. But yeah, this scene is the absolute winner for me. I was cackling with it. Brilliant stuff. Right, being very respectful of the fact that we want to stay on the right side of Super Nanny. I think we did a very good job here, Murgoot. 2 films, an actual double feature.
And we're on time.
I know. What is going on here? Well, to make sure we stay on top of the time, horror homework is not yet decided. I will conclude our poll on the weekend. So if you remember and you have not voted, vote quickly. Yeah, I'm going to conclude the poll on Saturday and let you know. I will say currently Roman Polanski is winning. So that's probably going to be Repulsion that we'll go with if Polanski wins. But I will confirm on Saturday for you and lay out the schedule. Quite a lot that we can do there with Polanski. We can cover a whole gamut. But we'll see how it goes. So members, you are able to vote on here or on Subscribestar. And it's reasonably close enough that I think it could be swung either way. So you have your chance. Yeah, John, don't worry about it. The beautiful thing about the requests is that it will take us to films that we would never have considered watching. And you absolutely did that. So I appreciate it. I like being shown new things. So do not worry about it. This is the privilege you get as a member. Battlefield Earth may be the exception. All right.
No.
So get voting. I will announce your horror homework on Saturday. And the Saturday after, we are going to have the Men is Based stream. That is going to happen because you folks were wonderful and generous. So there we go. Murgoot, thank you so much for this stream.
Thank you for the bleeding house. I don't know how to feel about Calvaire aside from icky things. But yeah, it was great being here.
Yeah. A real mixed bag that I offer you tonight. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, and chat, thank you. Panji, what's the Israeli theme with a similar theme of torture of grit? I don't know. Nothing is coming to mind on that. I'm sorry I can't help you on it. Can't place it. Sorry there. Yeah, I was racking my brain there, but I can't think of it. All right. Well, yeah, that was episode 200. 200 episodes. Crikey. Yes. Dr. Prepper, looking forward to the next 200 episodes. Indeed. We will have a fun arc next month. We will have another episode of Only Correct next month. Do not doubt it. But folks, I hope Thanks again for your generosity, for supporting the stream. Thank you to your wonderful people on the replay. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend after. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
#ChillGang.